Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. So, as the part of the urinary system, in this particular video we shall discuss the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone pathway, or it is popularly known as RAA pathway. Okay, so already we have discussed this particular system in brief when we have discussed the overview of the renal physiology. So, how it helps in regulating the renal physiology, we have seen certain secretions of certain ions, a reabsorption of certain ions and water. Okay, so we shall discuss in detail the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone pathway. Okay, now when will this particular system be activated? Okay. So, usually it is activated in the situations like dehydration or sodium deficiency or hemorrhage. In other words, if due to some reason the fluid balance of the body, if it is disrupted, okay, or to certain extent the electrolyte balance is disrupted, this particular system will get activated. So, mainly it is the decrease in the volume of the body fluids, may it be due to dehydration, that is excessive loss of water. It may occur during the diarrhea, if the patient is suffering from diarrhea, or the burns. Okay, so, body fluids may get lost in this particular situation, or the hemorrhage, that is the excessive loss of blood from the body. So, in these particular situations the fluid balance will get disrupted. Okay. So, in order to bring it back to normal, to maintain the homeostasis within the body, this particular system plays a very important role, the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone pathway, or simply you can call it as renin-angiotensin system, RAS. Okay, but it also involves the release of aldosterone, that is why this system is also known as renin-angiotensin-aldosterone pathway. So, as we have seen that these particular situations like dehydration, sodium deficiency or hemorrhage, when it occurs, what will happen? It will result in decrease in the blood volume, correct? The volume of the blood will get decreased, right, because you are losing fluids. So, as a result of decrease in the blood volume, due to this what will happen? If the blood volume decreases, it is directly proportional to the blood pressure, right. So, decrease in the blood volume will also result in decrease in the blood pressure, because we have seen volume is one of the parameters which affects the blood pressure, right. So, it will result in decrease in the blood pressure. Now, as a result of these lowered blood pressure, there are a specific types of cells, if you can recall, the juxtaglomerular cells. Where are these present? Yes, in the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay. It comprises of the macula densa and the juxtaglomerular cells, right. So, juxtaglomerular cells, these are nothing but the modified smooth muscles which are present in the afferent arterioles, correct, the ones which are entering into the renal corpuscles. So, in the wall of these afferent arterioles are present the juxtaglomerular cells, some modified smooth muscles. Now, these cells can sense the changes in the blood pressure. Okay, so, as a result of lowered blood pressure, it will secrete the enzyme renin. Okay, renin is released from the juxtaglomerular cells which are present in the kidneys. Okay, so, as a result of this, what will happen? the levels of renin in the blood will increase, right. Now, this particular renin which is released by the kidney, it is an enzyme, right. So, it will catalyze certain reaction, right. So, it converts the angiotensinogen. So, this is a polypeptide which is formed by the hepatocytes in the liver. So, this angiotensinogen is converted to angiotensin 1. It is a decapeptide, right. 10 amino acids are present over here. Okay. So, what will happen as a result of action of renin on angiotensinogen, which is a precursor for angiotensin 1. Okay. So, from this polypeptide 10 amino acid chain is clipped off, and that is known as angiotensin 1. Okay. So, as a result of this increased level of renin, it will result in increased levels of the angiotensin 1, right. So, circulating levels of angiotensin 1 will increase in the body. Okay. So, as this angiotensin 1 is getting circulated throughout the body, so it will be carried to all the parts of the body, right. Now, when this angiotensin 1 is encountered by this particular enzyme, angiotensin converting enzyme, or it is also abbreviated as ACE. Okay. So, especially this particular enzyme is located in the capillaries of the lungs. So, here the angiotensin 1, it gets converted to angiotensin 2, okay, by the action of enzyme ACE, that is angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, and this particular angiotensin 2 is responsible for further changes which helps in bringing back the homeostasis to normal. Okay, so, it is a two-step reaction which is involved over here. First step is angiotensin nogen, it gets converted to angiotensin 1 in presence of enzyme renin, which is secreted by kidney, and the second step involves the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2 in the presence of enzyme ACE, or angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, so, kidneys play a very important role over here by releasing the enzyme required for the first step, okay, that is the release of the angiotensin 1 from angiotensinogen. Okay. So, as this levels of angiotensin 2 increases now, it has further several consequences. Okay. Now, the first consequence is that it will stimulate the adrenal cortex to release the hormone aldosterone. So, this is an endocrine gland, okay, adrenal glands which are just present superior to your kidneys, right. So, adrenal gland, it has two parts actually. This is the adrenal medulla, and the outer part is known as adrenal cortex. You all are aware of what is the meaning of this term cortex, rind of bark. Okay, so, outer portion is known as cortex of this particular gland. So, it is adrenal cortex. So, this portion releases another hormone called as aldosterone. Okay, so, angiotensin 2, it promotes the release of aldosterone from the adrenal cortex. So, as a result of this, what will happen? There will be increased levels of aldosterone in the blood, right. Okay, so, more and more amount of aldosterone will reach the kidney, right, because the kidneys are richly supplied by the blood, right. So, more and more levels of aldosterone will reach the kidneys. Now, in kidneys, what this aldosterone will do? It will increase the reabsorption of sodium ions. Okay, so, sodium ion reabsorption is increased. So, will it result in correction of the disruption of the homeostasis? What has happened over here? Sodium deficiency is also one of the parameter which can stimulate this particular or activate this particular system, right. So, has it brought back the homeostasis now? Yes. it was deficient now, sodium ions were deficient, that is their level was low, which is now brought back to normal, because aldosterone in turn will act on the kidney tubules, increase the reabsorption of the sodium ions. Now as the sodium ion is reabsorbed, what else will get reabsorbed along with this? Now electrolytes are moving, right. So what will happen to the water? So along with these electrolytes, water also gets reabsorbed, right. We have seen in the physiology of urine formation, this particular concentration gradients will carry along with it the water as well. So the reabsorption of water is also increased by the process of osmosis. So as a result of this, what will happen now? Reabsorption of water is taking place. So what will happen? Less of water is lost in the urine, right. So will it bring back the homeostasis of decrease in the body fluids? That is what has happened, right, in the dehydration or the hemorrhage. So it has also brought back the fluid balance as well. Okay, so it helps in maintaining the homeostasis of body fluid as well. Okay. Apart from that, even in the kidneys, the secretion of the potassium and hydrogen ions is also increased. Now as a result of this, what will happen? We have seen that all these changes have taken place, right. It has promoted the reabsorption of sodium ions, water reabsorption has been promoted, certain secretions of certain ions like potassium and hydrogen has been increased by this aldosterone. So as a consequence of all these changes, what has happened now? It has increased the reabsorption of water. So what will happen to your blood volume? Of course, the blood volume will increase. Okay. So has it reversed the situation now? This was the starting point, right? Decrease in the blood volume, correct. So what has happened now? It has increased the blood volume back to normal. Okay. So as a result of this, what will happen? Due to increase in the blood volume, what will happen to your blood pressure? Obviously that will also be brought back to normal. So the blood pressure which had decreased over here, it will be brought back to normal. Okay. Apart from this, the angiotensin II, it has one more consequence. So we have seen that so far it has caused increase in the aldosterone level, which has all these consequences, right. So apart from this, angiotensin II also stimulates the contraction of the smooth muscles in the walls of arterioles. So what will happen as a result of this? Contraction of the smooth muscles will result in vasoconstriction in the arterioles, right. So as a consequence of the vasoconstriction, what will happen in the arterioles? So blood pressure will increase, right. Okay. So this is one more consequence which is resulting in increase in the blood pressure. So thus it will help in returning back to normal of the blood pressure. Okay. Now apart from this angiotensin II, there is one more stimulus which is responsible for the release of the aldosterone from the adrenal cortex. So that is increased potassium ion concentration in the blood, okay, or the interstitial fluid. So if the potassium ion levels increases, it promotes the release of the aldosterone. Okay, so what will happen as a result of this increase in the aldosterone? How it will help in bringing back this potassium ion levels to normal? It has increased, right. So it should decrease, it should get decreased. Okay, so what it does? This particular increase in the levels of the potassium ions, it stimulates the release of aldosterone from the adrenal cortex. As a result of this, what has happened? There is increased secretion of this potassium ions in the urine, right. So as a result of this, it will promote the excretion of the potassium ions in the urine, right. So what will happen? This increased levels of potassium ions, it will be decreased. So it will help in decreasing the potassium levels of your blood. Okay. And what will happen if the potassium levels, these are decreased? Opposite, exactly opposite will happen, right? So it will decrease the levels of aldosterone and thus potassium conservation will take place. Okay, so it is again regulated. The potassium ion concentration themselves is regulating their excretion or conservation in the kidneys. Okay, so this is the role of the kidneys in the renin-angiotensin system. So it is known as the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, okay, or pathway, quite popularly known as RAA pathway. Okay, so the renin, which is produced by the kidney and released by the juxtaglomerular cells of the juxtaglomerular apparatus, this will help in regulating the levels of body fluids. Also it will help in regulating the blood pressure. Also it will help in regulating the levels of certain ions in the body. So this is the role of kidney in maintaining these fluid and electrolyte balance. Okay. This is the reference. Thank you for watching.